Who's back? What's going on, YouTube? It's Willie Knox. We're back with our breakdown series. So today, man, listen, as promised, it is time to dive into the full album breakdown, the full album reaction. Christmas has come early. Strap in. You are going to get the full NF experience right here, right now. It's none other than Fear.
Hello, darkness, my old friend. Hello. Knocking at my door again, begging me to come outside, let you back into my life. Now, usually I'd be strong enough to lock the doors and keep them shut, but not today, I'm desperate.
Oh.
So go ahead and come on in. So go ahead and come on in.
There's already just so many layers. It's Nate. I love the metaphors. I love the symbolism. I'm going to try something different. We'll have some comments. I'm going to try to really let this run and get the full picture of this before I go back and break all this down. But man, love it already. Hello, darkness, my old friend. We just did a breakdown of Disturbed, Sound of Silence, Simon and Garfunkel. Come on.
So go ahead and come on in. OCD is worse than ever, hands are bleeding, maybe I should take the pill stone. Know what's going on with me, some days I actually think I might be schizo. Frantic, probably not, but even writing this is making me begin to spiral, oh God. Made a promise to myself I wouldn't let the fear back in, but then I did though. Told the world that I was sick of running, then went back to running, what a joke. Disappointed, yeah, me too, I thought I finally made a breakthrough, guess not.
Man.
It's just
Future Knox here. Listen, if you are enjoying this album reaction, if you're enjoying this breakdown, do me a huge favor. Support the channel directly. Subscribe with notifications on. It really does help. It really does go a long way. Also, if you like the hat that I'm wearing, if you like the hoodie that I'm wearing, knoxhillmusic.com. Go cop your merch. Go rep the brand. It all supports the channel. It all goes a really, really long way. I'll put all links down there. But anyways, back to the reaction.
same song and dance, you've seen it before. Darkness holds out its hand, then we walk to the floor. Every decision made isn't mine anymore. Like a puppet with strings, I just don't have a choice. What's the truth? What's a lie? Help me, God.
It's all about juxtapositions for me. The juxtaposition of his faster rapping and then coming back out of that into the smoother melodies. The juxtaposition of his white outfit, and notice the black, the white against black that ensnares him.
Help me, Lord, face your fears, dry your eyes. Grandma died, what's the point? Lost the keys, lost my hope, lost my will, lost my joy, lost a friend, lost my hope, lost my faith, lost my voice.
Ooh. Oh, that was an unexpected transition.
Standing back, watching my mansion burn to ash while I hold the gas.
Watching his mansion burn to ash.
Can asking God if he started this fire. Is this what you wanted? Is this what you wanted? Make all my hopes and my dreams come to life just to lay them to rest. Is this what you wanted? Is this what you wanted?
Wow, what a powerful representation of all the darkness creeping back
Give
in.
me a false sense of peace just to show me what peace really is.
Love the singing, man. Nate is really a good singer, very underrated.
Is this what you wanted? On the verge, on the edge. Is this what you wanted? Petrified, scared to death. Is this what you wanted? Praying to God, desperate. Is this what you wanted? What you wanted? Is this what you wanted? Hanging on by a thread. Is this what you wanted? wanted? Empty heart, nothing left. Is this what you wanted?
Oh, wow.
Breaking down, spiraling. Is this what you wanted? What you wanted? Is this what you wanted?
Oh.
Is this what you wanted? My is this what you wanted? To ask. Is this what you wanted? What you wanted?
What a powerful crescendo.
Is this what you wanted?
Those visuals are insane. Ooh. Oh. Oh. Fear. That was fear. We've gone backwards. Remember perception? Remember the keys? The cage? Nate in all black once more? Fear is back in control. Wow. Chills, man. And for me, quick meta thought on this before we go back and dive into the details, because it is beautiful and dense. But what a reflection and just representation of the mental health journey. Because for me, we had hope. We had White Nate finding the map to hope, finally finding some optimism and giving us a more positive message. And anyone who's been through mental health, depression, anxiety, panic attacks can tell you, you think you're on a path to healing. You work so hard to heal. And then it just feels like all of a sudden something happens or one singular moment and it just sends you 6 steps backwards. And mental health is a constant journey. You're never truly over it once you're in it. You're never truly healed. There's always that side of you that's on edge, that's hoping not to relapse, hoping not to go backwards. And for me, that's a perfect representation of life. Life is not black and white. We can't just have Nate getting across the finish line and celebrating victory, because that's not the reality of his situation. Fear is back. The doubts are back. The darkness is back. All of those negative emotions overcoming him. And that for me is just bringing things back around full circle with his previous videos, with his previous messages, but also it really does represent the true journey. Man, the poetry to this. All right, let's start breaking this down. Well done, Nate.
Hello, darkness, my old friend. Hello.
I love that little whisper. Hello. You know, just kind of like breaking the fourth wall, kind of greeting it. Because he's very good at taking these different emotions and personifying them. Personifying fear, personifying pride, having these different conversations, you know, bringing these different feelings to life. And notice here too, like, looks like a wide open mansion. And it represents for me his headspace, right? His headspace is very destroyed. That's why there's books on the floor. That's why things are knocked over.
Looking at my door again.
He's looking at the door, which he's talked about a mansion representing the door, and trying to stay away from some of those negative emotions that want to tempt him, that want to get him to go outside, right? That want to get him to dig holes and maybe dump him in the hole. Behind him on the right too, there's a broken mirror. And for me, the mirror comes into play later as well. The mirror is so great because we look at our own reflections in the mirror. So that broken mirror representing just that broken sense of self-esteem, that broken sense of self that we reflect upon.
Knocking at my door.
We also have the Nate dressed in white that we ended on hope with.
Again.
Lights flickering. You know the saying. The light's on, but is anybody home? Nice play on that.
Begging me to come outside.
And obviously we talked about Simon and Garfunkel. Hello, darkness, my old friend. Man, what a haunting line.
Begging me to come outside. Let you back into my life. Now, usually I'd be strong enough.
Now, usually, like, I love right there how he goes, like, from the softer, whispered, now. And then on the U for the usually, he starts to push it more aggressive into his singing voice. Just like great little control. Kind of having these moments because he knows that everything's sort of scaled back right now in the instrumentation before we start to build, right? Just having that vocal push and pull within it just to keep you really on the edge.
Now, usually I'd be strong enough to lock the doors and keep them shut.
I love right there how he's got his softer saying, keep them shut. And behind that, it's that classic Nate mix of that yelling, shut! And it's super wet. It's super reverbed. And it just provides this atmosphere and this depth to it. But it's way kind of back in the mix and just adds a different sort of level of emphasis. And like I talked about, my favorite word, my word of the day is always juxtaposition, isn't it? Look at the lighting too, right? Just a very dramatic, cinematic lighting. The dramatic shadows, right? Even though he's dressed in white, we can't really see his face. We can't really see his expression. And this for me also represents kind of this doubt and these shadows that he's dealing with within.
But not today, I'm desperate.
And he's shaking his hand. He seems to be struggling, trying to lock the door. And that for me is representing that strength. You know, when those negative emotions, when those doubts, when that panic starts to creep in and you have those mental walls up and you're trying to block it out. And some days you definitely feel stronger than others. Some days you definitely feel weaker. And as time goes on, if you're not careful, if the weights start to pile up and you don't notice, you run out of strength to keep that door closed, to keep it all locked away.
So go ahead.
And then he just whispered, desperate. Getting desperate there.
I'm desperate. So go ahead and come on in.
Great acting. I love that look that he gives. Just kind of like that dread that you see it as he turns to the door.
So go ahead and come on in. So go ahead and...
Those of you who don't know, I've been in an accident. I've tore up my shoulder, and I just totally forgot as I'm sat drinking this. Like, I am in pain right now on pain meds, trying to focus. Yeah, sorry, sidebar.
Come on in. So go ahead and come on in. OCD is worse than ever, hands are bleeding. Maybe I should take the pills down.
So go ahead and come on in. That's not the Nate that we knew from Hope. That's not the Nate who was ready for the fight. Just the way that it's sung, the way everything's kind of dropped down, it almost feels like it's inevitability. And I love the way the musicality is used and kind of softened and almost devil may care, the way that he's singing it to just have that level of acceptance. And then he has a nice running rap flow. Now he picks up the pace and the energy. And with this more just like faster delivery that we're used to with his raps, with his MCing, I love how he runs along this guitar line right here.
OCD is worse than ever, hands are bleeding. Maybe I should take the pills down. Know what's going on with me, some days I actually...
OCD is worse than ever, maybe I should take the pills down. And I love how coming out, I go higher, then I drop down here. Right there, see that diction? And just that cadence control as well with that peppered flow.
They think I might be schizo. Frantic, probably not, but even writing this is making me begin to spiral. Oh, God.
I can't remember which music video it is that we call back here. You're going to have to help me in the comment section. Comment down below. Catch me up on that one. I just can't remember which exact one that's from.
Made a promise to myself I wouldn't let the fear back.
There's the mirror getting shattered. There's a callback as well.
But then I did though. Told the world that I was sick of running, then went back to running. What a joke.
Told the world I was sick of running, then I went back to running. That is a great line for me, right? Because this is that mental health journey that he's on. We're supposed to be out of this. We're supposed to be in the light. And now all of a sudden we're going, feels like backwards, right?
Told the world that I was sick of running, then went back to running. What a joke. Disappointing.
Told the world I was sick of running, then I went back to running. What a joke. I love yet again how he comes out of that faster rap flow and then he smooths it out with a melody. And then he's got a great sense, I've talked about this before, of timing, right? Instead of just having this fast flow that he just keeps running through, he gives you a line and then he takes a breath and he lets that line marinate. And he has this very stop, fast delivery, but it lets you keep up with it and it lets you just kind of appreciate kind of the skill of having a faster flow, but with words that add meaning, with words that are telling the story and contributing to the theme of his song. It's not just like filler bars that he's throwing out that's like, look at me, I can rap fast. No, there's a purpose to it. There's just a craft behind it and a measurement to it all.
Yeah, me too. I thought I finally made a breakthrough. Guess not. It's the same song
and that's important for me, that the blackness comes out of the mirror. Remember we talked about the self-reflection and the self-esteem.
It's not. It's It's the same song and dance, you all seen it before. Darkness holds out its hand, then we walk to the floor. Every decision made.
Darkness holds out his hand, then we walk to the floor. That for me, you know, like we walk out. I embrace the dance, almost like dancing with the devil, playing off of that. But the floor is important for me because we're not going up to the ceiling. We're not rising up, right? We're sinking back down. And notice again the snares. And these for me represent the snares within his mind.
Isn't mine anymore, like a puppet with strings. I just don't have a choice. What's the truth? What's a lie? Help me, God. Help me, Lord. Face your fears. Dry your eyes. Grandma died. What's the point? Lost the keys. Lost my hope. Lost my will. Lost my joy. Lost a friend. Lost my hope. Lost my faith. Lost my voice.
Lost my faith. Lost my voice. And I love how he's crying out to God. But then also there's those callbacks. That callback to hope. His proverbial hope, but also literally this song, Hope. Literally having the map to hope.
What's the point?
The keys as well that he lost. The keys to the door to keep the door closed. But then the keys that we had in Perception. The keys that we had in Outcast.
Lost the keys, lost my hope, lost my will, lost my joy, lost a friend, lost my hope, lost my faith, lost my voice.
Lost my faith. Lost my hope. You hear again? Just that more aggressive Nate, just kind of reminding us that he's still there, like in the back of the mix. Again, just like super wet and atmospheric. This transition is such a dope transition, man. How do they set this up? This is just so clever. Look at that. And then he lost his voice there. And then the hand comes in. Wow. That's so dope. Washing your hands clean just makes me think of like Jesus washing his hands, right? Before the Last Supper. Bathing the hands and feet of the disciples. And what a beautiful moment for a piano. But here we go. You have this beautiful piano, and then that beauty gets interrupted with just that little distortion and that shot of the door. Just kind of reminding us, you can't even relax right now. And this, for me, again, is all representative of mental health. Like, we can't just chill. There is no chill. There's always just that edge somewhere. You know it's there. You know that shadow exists somewhere. Amazing shots and setup. Yeah, and then the hymn on fire. Ooh.
Back watching my mansion burn to ash while I hold the.
That feels like a memory. That feels like a cut from his therapy sessions, right? And you can't really hear what's said, but it's just like, you know, when you just have a memory and you can't just seem to grasp it and pull it to the surface, but you know that it's there deep down. That's what that sound makes me think of.
I hold the gas can, asking God if he started this fire.
You know, that's an interesting question, because for me, he's admitting to losing his faith, to struggling, to calling out for God for help. And then he's wondering, admits his own self-destruction, if God's the one who started this, if this was God's plan, right? Because there's still that struggle, I think, that we all have between individualism and how much is within our own control and how much is left up to fate and extenuating circumstances and left to God.
Is this what you wanted? Is this what you wanted?
For me, our second key location, right? We talked about the inside of the house representing his mental state. His faith now represented here, sat inside of a church. As the darkness creeps in and the doubt creeps in, admits his faith.
Make all my hopes and my dreams come to life just to lay.
You got a beautiful piano running. You got a beautiful acoustic guitar running. And then you just have some strings building underneath of it all as well.
Them to rest. Is this what you wanted? Is this what?
That hand movement, that hand's still shaking, right? Like he's struggling with the strength to grip, to hold.
You wanted? Give me a false sense of peace just to show me what peace really is. Is this what you wanted?
Gave me a false sense of peace just to show me what peace really is. Wow.
on the verge, on the edge. Is this what you want now? Petrified, scared to death. Is this what you want now? Praying to God.
And right there, it looks like there's like a little bit of like steam coming off of him.
Petrified, scared to death. Is this what you want now? Praying to God, desperate.
Yeah, like he's like bearing his soul, but also like the steam because he's getting ready. It's not steam. Oh, it's smoke because he catches on fire.
Is this what you want?
We're teasing it there.
What you want now? Is this what you want?
And obviously tying in with religious references when he gets caught on fire here, like self-burning, but also like going through hell and having this play on heaven and hell as well.
Hanging on by a thread. Is this what you want now? Empty heart, nothing left.
And the black tears, man.
Is this what you want now? Breaking down, spiraling. Is this what you want?
Can't help but feel like he's speaking not only to God, obviously, as we tend to do in our worst moments, but he's also kind of speaking to himself and speaking to the different versions of himself. Like, is this what you wanted? And even speaking to fear, the title of this track, you know, this is what you wanted. You wanted me to go backwards. You wanted me to give into all this. Well, here you go. Here's the snares.
What you wanted, is this what you wanted? Is this what you wanted? My is this what you wanted? Is this what you
What's wild is the depth to this mix. Like having his singing here, and then he's got some harmonies, oh, whoa, like down in the mix. Then there's a couple yells, yeah, like just that Nate yelling. That's, again, really buried down depth-wise. And then you have all these orchestral strings that are building, and yet the guitar sits over top of them all. So you still have this kind of acoustic moment happening, and then just like this crazy atmospheric build, just, but it's still down in the mix underneath of it all as it rises.
wanted? What you wanted, is this what you wanted?
And then another really, really dope transition when he falls in the church and then he falls within his own house. And we're back in his mind. And here comes fear. And Dark Nate, who steals the keys. Yeah, that's a video. I wish I could clap more, but I do got to start thinking of taking care of this arm. I tell you what, man, the devil is in the details. And I say that appreciating all the religious references, just all the thought that's put behind Nate's music. And the thing I love too is how he always connects discographies, right? There seems to be a consistent storyline going. 21 Pilots does this as well. Some of the great artists, they do this, and they really make their art feel timeless. You know, it doesn't matter how many years it's been since he's dropped. Like, we're still dropped right back into that moment, right back into the series, right back into the continuation of the symbolism and themes of it all. And a really interesting choice too, because this is the first track, this is the opener, this is also the first music video. So, you know, some artists will go, well, I need a hit single as my first opener. I need something that's going to really splash, something that's, you know, going to be catchy. It's going to get the place. And it feels like Nate really just went, no, I need something that sets the mood, that sets the theme. Right? I'm doing this for the art. And he chose to go more of the singing route instead of like really get in the rap bag and really get people talking. And I like that decision as well. You know, this is definitely someone who's matured, who's dropped a number of albums now, who is really going to do what he feels is right for the sake of the music, not what he feels is most marketable, not what he feels is going to get him the most attention. I enjoyed that. Beautiful guitar.
Crying alone on the ride home, driving. Just got the text you died. This doesn't feel real to me.
Crying on the drive home. Just got the text that you died. Man, this is going to be one of those. For those who don't know, when I lost my grandfather, I was rushing to get back to see him, and thank DC Beltway traffic that we got stuck in, and I was 10 minutes from the house when I got the message that he didn't make it. I didn't get to say goodbye.
Try and keep my mind off it, but I can't think about anything else. It's killing me slowly.
Man. Isn't that an ironic line? But I love how that's placed. You know, killing me slowly. And you have someone who has died. So playing off of death. But then there's this death of the mind. He has really nice, I've said this before, like I love Nate's tone when he gets into just this singing back. And it seems like we're getting more Nate singing on this, more melodic Nate. And it's just a perfect accompaniment to this just nice, just slowly driven acoustic guitar. It really sets the mood and sets the tone. But still, he's got a rapper's rhyme writing, right? Crying, trying, driving. He's got the nice starting the line with the rhyme, and then he's got the externals on the end as well.
Feel real to me. Try and keep my...
You could just hear the strain in that delivery. Like, even though it's kind of dropped down and it's sort of a, you know, calmer delivery, just as he holds out the I sound, you just hear that little bit of vocal strain within it, man. You can just feel that little bit of tension, that little bit of pain within the voice itself.
Mind off it, but I can't think about anything else. It's killing me slowly. What's life without you? I don't wanna know. Goodbye, I'm not ready to say so. Oh, just act like you're here, call your phone. Oh, leave a voicemail and then text you to call me back later. It's fine, no need to rush, it's alright. Until midnight. This ain't the end, you're not gone. You just found a new place to call home. 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 Come.
I'm not crying, you're crying. Wow, this is hard. You know, but this is music, and as an artist, you know, that story of my grandfather, you know, I had the song I Need a Minute, and I said that he's found a new home. And then when Nate says those lines, you know, and he talked about literally on the last song his grandmother dying. So I'm guessing that this is about his grandmother. He's talking about playing cards. And I think I've seen an interview before where Nate's talked about how important his grandparents were to him, because we know the broken home that he's come from with his parents, and the importance of his grandparents. And I feel like I empathize with this so much as someone who had a grandfather that was like a father figure that was so pivotal in raising me and gave me so much. And it's still to this day, it's so hard to live without them. And I get wanting to kind of live in this state of denial. You know, I talk out loud to him all the time, like he's here with me, and I believe he is. And Nate just like sending those messages, and yeah, just simple sentiments, but they just mean so much. And these are hard songs to write, and I appreciate how much they hurt and how it feels like songs like this really reopen wounds. But for me, this is the best form of art. You know, the art that makes you feel, that really pulls at your emotions, that makes you uncomfortable, that puts you in these spaces. Because I also think there's truly a power in solidarity and letting others know, you know, they're not alone. You know, we all go through loss. We all suffer. We lose those that are close to us, those who love us. you know?
Found a new place to go.
And when he hits these higher notes of home, so beautiful, so beautifully done. What a tribute.
Comes and goes, hits and waves. One day I'll be okay, then the next I'm a mess. Walking down memory lane, reminiscing. Feels like it was just yesterday.
Nice little bar he slipped in there, walking down memory lane, and just taking that idiom and taking that metaphor and just making it a reality.
Reminiscing, feels like it was just yesterday. We were kids. Running round in your yard, out on M61. All the memories we made in that house growing up. God, I miss it, would give anything just to be there again. What's life without you? I don't wanna know. Yeah. Good.
I'll tell you that from experience, man. Death does not take the good people. It is not the good ones who get to live a long life. Normally the good ones always go too soon.
Yeah. Goodbye. I'm not ready to say so.
It's the sad strings. Those cellos underneath of that. Just, again, everything. Because we're so used to like the super cinematic NF. And I feel like what we've gotten so far is just a different tonal shift with the production. You know, there's still those moments. Not this song. Everything's just more scaled back. It's more simplified. But the feeling isn't lost. The fullness, the depth, the richness of the mix is still there. And I think it's a perfect decision to kind of take this route. You have some builds happening. You have some more fullness now in this rise in this second verse. But for me, what's not lost is that focus on the vocal delivery. Because the reason why you scale it back is because you want people to really focus on the lyrics, on Nate singing, because that's what we're connecting with, right? And the music in this case, sometimes the music, you know, really builds, really elevates, really adds. I feel like the music's job here is to, you know, just support, just to be there, to build around what Nate is doing, but to make sure that we're really focused on Nate's lyricism, because this is an important message.
What's life without you? I don't wanna know. Yeah.
Some nice piano notes in this too.
Goodbye. I'm not ready to say so.
Wow. Great singing.
No need to rush, it's alright. I'll stop by tomorrow to say hi. We could play cards until midnight. This ain't the end, you're not gone. You just found a new place to go.
There's our crescendo. There's our more cinematic hit right there, our final rise. Oh, beautiful. I like the decision this time on these higher homes, you know, out of that first hook, to really build it this time and make it feel almost like a choir behind it. Beautiful. And those piano hits are hitting right there. Boom, boom. Just those softer notes right there with home as well.
Just found a new place to go. Act like you're here, call your phone. Oh, leave a voicemail and then text you. Call me back later, it's fine. No need to rush, it's alright.
Oh, that last line, you hear the right. It's almost like his voice is breaking right there. And for me, this was beautiful musicality, right? You hear the fullness of all this, right? The guitar's still going. You've got the piano. You've got the strings building. You've got just kind of everything just rising beautifully. Nate kind of pushing it vocal-wise. And then one last moment after the wave rises, let it just crash down one more time. Almost like just like washing over the sand, and just let it be. And come back to scaling it down, and come back to simplifying it, and more of a drop down delivery. Like we're kind of right there. It makes it feel just like a raw acoustic session. You know, we're in the room with him right here at this moment.
Like you're here, call you.
Like you're here. And, you know, it gets a little bit more breathy with the delivery.
Oh, leave a voicemail and then text you. To call me back later, it's fine. No need to rush, it's alright.
That's not something that you can imitate, that you can fake. You know, that's real pain, and that's art right there. And you know, to anyone who's lost a loved one, that's gonna hit. And for me, you feel that pain, and I can't help but wonder now, looking back at fear, you know, because we've had fear now take over hope. Is this the reason? Right? It's almost like now we're kind of going back in time to figure out how we got to what's just happened in fear. When you have, you know, the hope Nate that's now lost. The white Nate seems gone. Well, why is hope gone? Death. Death has happened. He's lost someone that he's loved, someone close to him. And maybe that's what has sent him backwards on this mental health struggle, back to this anxiety, back to letting the darkness in. It all makes sense now. When you take the first song and now you take this song and you put them together and you look at them. But for me, it's not just all sad, because there's also a beautiful sentiment to this too. And that for me is what really touches me, is that, you know, you found a new home. Just that sentiment, right? You know, like death is not the end. You know, it's just the beginning of a new journey and a new step, and kind of taking comfort in that, in knowing that one that he has loved so much just has a new home and a new place. What a song.
Everything I care about in love.
Alright, turn my vocal up and then just let it run. I'm stuck in.
Nothing left of who I thought I was. Everything I care about burning up. Again, I love this acoustic guitar that we've already encountered on this album. And for me, it's a perfect setup, because you think about MGK and his just, what is a genre to him anymore, in all of his crossovers. It already feels like, yeah, perfect setup and build. And I wonder if that's his voice or if it's a sample cut. But obviously it's been taken, it's been pitch shifted, it's a lot higher of a cut. Sounds more like a sample, but it's just, yeah, dope little cut in the mix. Very fitting lyrics for, you know, NF talking about, is it God who burned this? Talking about the mansion being on fire. I mean, you look at this album cover right here, and just kind of NF himself being on fire. And for him, it was his mental state. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what you're doing either. 3, 2, 1.
Turn my vocal up and then just let it run.
Nothing left of who I thought I was.
Vocal up and then just let it run.
Stuck in traffic, trying to find my way to a home that I've never known on a GPS with no address. So I'll follow my heart, but my heart is scattered like my father's ashes in the back of the rental after I drop his urn. Probably a metaphor for everything I've learned, like how the only love I'll have is gonna crash and burn, or how the poorest I felt was after the most I've earned. The biggest lie told is that no one should be concerned. There's gotta be another highway that don't lead to hell, a star to lead me through the darkest night like Christian Bale. I hid from God for more than 2 decades of life, and when I came back to the light, he didn't ask me if I'm Christian still, just opened up his arms and embraced me.
MGK in absolute attack mode on this verse, man. I love this. And when that acoustic guitar first came in, I'm sat going, MGK, I mean, what is a genre to him anymore? Like, what are we going to get? Singing MGK? We're going to get rapping MGK. Oh, we got rapping MGK.
Decades of life, and when I came back to the light, he didn't ask me if I'm Christian still, just opened up his arms and embraced me like I'm his son, erasing all the archetypes of what people like me become. Since I was young, my personality split like...
Future Knox here. Listen, if you're enjoying this reaction and breakdown, we got more NF on the way. Subscribe, notifications on. It all helps. It all goes a long way. Also, if you like the hat that I'm wearing, if you like the hoodie that I'm wearing, KnoxSillMusic.com. Go get your merch. Go rep the brand. It all helps. It all goes a long way. All links will be down there. Anyways, back to the reaction.
Personality split like serpent's tongue, but all the poison in my body still ain't make me numb. I lost a best friend and felt all that, crying on his open casket while I knelt on that. I had a best man picked out for my wedding, but instead of getting married, I carried guilt and left all that. A vagabond that broke a bond for Boca Raton, who all along regretted he never kept all that. I left everything behind but this engagement ring and a frozen heart. I'm standing in the fire to melt all that, yeah.
Man. Wow. I've heard a few MGK songs now where he just opens up. And for me, Vulnerable MGK is the best MGK. He knew the homework, getting on an NF track. Let's bring it back and break this one down. Ooh, what a verse, man. Everything I care about enough, burning up. And you have the album imagery, NF's mansion, his mind space. We saw in Fear, him being on fire, everything that he knows, burning, going up in smoke. So again, you have this lyricism just matching the visual symbolism. Yeah. And for me, being on fire, that represents your house being on fire. That represents your mind space. You know, being in a state of adrenaline pumping panic, of fear, of fight or flight, right? And just that anxiety and all of that just angst wrapped up within the flames. That to me is a symbolic representation of it.
Yeah. All right, turn my vocal up and then just let it run.
Turn my vocal up and let it run. So he wants us to know this is like a one take.
Stuck in traffic, trying to find my way to a home that I've never known on a GPS with no address. So I'll
trying to find my way home to a place I've never known with a GPS with no address. Like right there, that acoustic guitar is running. And I'm kind of like, what's the flow that he's going to take? And for me, it's just attack, right? There's no real breaths. There's no real pauses. Like his method through this is kind of run bar into run bar into run bar into run bar and just keep going and just keep peppering through the syllables while he's storytelling throughout this.
Stuck in traffic, trying to find my way to a home that I've never known on a GPS with no address. So
obviously home, never known. He goes internal, and then traffic, address. Then he kicks it back out to the external rhyme schemes.
I'll follow my heart, but my heart is scattered like my father's ashes in the back of the rental after I dropped his urn. Probably a metal.
Man, my heart is scattered like my father's ashes in the back of the rental.
But my heart is scattered like my father's ashes in the back of the rental after I dropped his urn. Probably a metaphor for everything I've learned, like how the only love I'll have is gonna crash and burn.
Like that's the big punchline. All the love that I have is gonna crash and burn. But for me, I love just the illustrative technique that he uses to just picture MGK like in this rental, just like feeling rushed, and he drops the urn. And what does that imply? Like this is supposed to be his father. This is supposed to be something that he's taking care of. And yet here it is. The ashes are scattered in the back. And I just see MGK going, oh no, what just happened? And then for him to take that and to take that setup and just putting us in that place and then eventually know that he's getting to that punchline of crashing and burning. Why? Because he's in a rental, he's driving, so he plays into that crash and burn versus just the idiom when your life is just a crash and burn car wreck.
Oh, I'll follow my heart, but my heart is scattered like my father's ashes in the back of the rental after I dropped his urn. Probably a metaphor for everything I've learned, like how the only love I'll have is gonna crash and burn. Man. Or how the poorest I felt was after the most I've earned. The biggest lie told is that
the poorest I felt after the most I've earned. I love that. Money can't buy you happiness. People think that it can, But if you don't fix what's in here, you'll never truly be happy.
All habits gonna crash and burn, or how the poorest I felt was after the most I've earned.
I love that juxtaposition, poor to earn when he's rich.
The biggest lie told is that no one should be concerned. There's gotta be another highway that don't lead to hell. A star to lead me through.
Another highway that don't lead to hell. You know the song, Highway to Hell, right? Laying off of that.
Told us that no one should be concerned. There's gotta be another.
He's trying to find another road, another path. And for me, what's really clever is with this highway bar, shouting out highway to hell, but also he's still staying on the being in the rental, crash and burn with his life, with his love, with this drive of life. Like he's staying within all these metaphorical schemes within the same theme.
Another highway that don't lead to hell. A star to lead me through the darkest night like Christian Bale. I hid from God for more than 2 decades of life. And when I came back to the light, he didn't ask me if I'm Christian still. Just opened up his.
God always welcomes you with open arms. If you're willing to open up your heart, man. I love those lines. And before that, the darkest night. When the night is darkest before the dawn. Versus Christian Bale playing Batman, The Dark Knight.
God for more than 2 decades of life. And when I came back to the light, he didn't ask me if I'm Christian still. Just opened up his arms and embraced me like I'm his son. Erasing all the archetypes of what people like me become. Since I was young, my personality split like serpent's tongue. But all the poison in my body.
And I love how he goes onto the religious theme, right? Personality split like serpent's tongue. Because again, staying on theme here, the serpent, Satan, right? Being tempted, being led to sin. So a serpent's tongue is forked versus his personalities being split and him feeling like his life is torn.
So what people like me become.
Nice.
Since I was young, my personality split like serpent's tongue. But all the poison in my body still ain't make me numb. I lost a best friend and felt all that. Crying.
And even that, like the serpent. And then he takes the poison as a metaphor for this lifestyle and how he's been living and everything he's been pumping to his body with the drugs and all of that versus a snake's poison. Nice flip again.
But all the poison in my body still ain't make me numb. I lost a best friend and felt all that. Crying on his open casket while I knelt on that. I had a best man picked out for my wedding, but instead of getting married, I carried guilt and left all that. A vagabond that broke a bond for Boca Raton, who all along.
Vagabond that broke a bond for Boca Raton. I just love that rhyme scheme set up right there. And then rest in peace to his best friend, man. I lost my best friend, Nick, to cancer. And I just talked about this on my recent song, Independent Volume 1. Like, never smoked a day in his life. 21 years old, man. Diagnosed with lung cancer.
Married, I carried guilt and left all that. A vagabond that broke a bond for Boca Raton, who all along regretted he never kept all that. I left everything behind but this engagement ring and a frozen heart. I'm standing in the fire to melt all that, yeah.
Man, I'm standing in the fire to melt all that. Again, back to this theme of burning down your own house. And for me, I just wonder if it's all darkness and dreariness or if this fire isn't just hell, isn't just testing, but there's also hope within this. Because from the ashes, there can be resurrection too.
This engagement ring and a frozen heart, I'm standing.
And he's talked about, I broke down this song, really opening up and bearing his heart about the breakup with Megan Fox and like how that hit him. And yeah, man, what a verse.
In the fire to melt all.
The best music has no filters, right? The best music is just raw, vulnerable art. MGK just gave us that.
Yeah.
That sounded like burn. Again, like this is what NF does though. Like we have this beautiful guitar running. This just really thoughtful verse from MGK, and then just out of left field, you get like just this distortion. Just to remind you, hey, you still got to be on the edge of your toes. You still have to be filled with this anxiety for me, which is represented. I talked about it with the piano on Fear as well.
Everything I care about in love. Nothing left of who I thought I was. I was. I was.
Last show.
That was a dope glitch stutter on the piano, man. It just put the vocal cuts as well. Woo, the mix.
Yeah.
Woo.
Last show. Need to take a breath and calm down. Try to regulate, don't know how. Wasn't taught that in my house. Kids on my own, I step back. Look at.
And calm down, my house. Even though he's not rhyming word for word, he's still staying on the same meter. I've talked about this before with NF. He's very good at just finding these different poetic meters and just sticking to those rhythms, man. And then he hits that rhythm for a little bit, then he switches gears and changes up.
Taught that in my house. Kids on my own, I step back.
Kids on my own, I step back. It's like da 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 da. like push and pull with that, man. And notice again, just that measured stop, start, delivery. That's so dope, even while singing. He's got like a nice rap flow too.
Wasn't taught that in my house. Kids on my own, I step back. Look at those smiles and feel sad. Hope they don't wind up like that. Stuck in this loop like I am. I called you, never heard back. After everything we've been through, the good and the bad, you bout to throw it all away and overreact. Because I overreacted. Karma, I guess my temper gets the best of me, a part of me that I wish I knew how to get rid of. It's an issue I had. My MO say I need you when I love you to death, then turn around and go and treat you like you nothing but trash. I know I messed that part up with. I know. Yeah, I know. Sometimes I lash out, need to take a breath and calm down. Try to regulate, don't know how. Wasn't taught that in my house. Kids on my own, I step back. Look at those smiles and feel sad. Hope they don't wind up like that. Stuck in this loop like I am.
Wow. That's haunting, man. And he says stuck in this loop like I am. And then he goes back to repeating the lines from the start of the verse. So literally he turns his verse into a loop. And again, for me, I talked about like his just cadence and his microphone diction. And right here's a great example. When he's got this beautiful, smoother singing voice, this thoughtfulness.
Like I am,
I am. And then right there, as it just like cuts in and you have that stutter glitch, then he gets more aggressive with the delivery. And then it starts to rise here.
You never heard back after everything we've been through, the good and the bad. You bout to throw it all away and overreact because I
called you, never heard back. Everything we've been through, the good and the bad. Who's he calling? Right? It could be a personal relationship. It could be him addressing himself. Right? He's had phone calls before from fear. Maybe he's trying to call hope. And he never heard back in the end.
And through the good and the bad, you bout to throw it all away and overreact because I overreact.
It's interesting because I talk about how he likes to like just pick certain doubles and layer them with like really over the top aggressive delivery. And you're getting it here. And it's got just like, again, sort of that glitch effect and that mix on top of it on certain words. Overreact. And that's just underneath of his main rap voice.
Reacted, karma, I guess my temper gets the best of me, a part of me that I wish.
Karma, I guess my temper. I was also wondering if this fire can represent anger too, right? That fire burning in those flames.
I overreacted, karma, I guess my temper gets the best of me, a part of me that I wish I knew how to get rid of. It's an issue I had. My MO say I need you when I love you to death, then turn around and go and treat you like you nothing but trash. I know I messed that part up with. I know.
I love that. I know I messed that part up. And it just adds to the kind of the rawness. Because you had MGK talking, like when he's in the booth, and just to let it run. And then NF also talking, like in between takes. And like normally you edit those out. I love how that's left in just to add to kind of like the raw feel. Like we're still in the studio session, and this just doesn't feel fully complete. It's just got that rawness to it all.
My MO say I need you when I love you to death, then turn.
And what's interesting is he's talking about this anger and hurting others. And then he alludes to his childhood, looking at other kids with smiles. And, you know, acknowledging that he came from a broken home. And I can't help but wonder if there's that wonder within him and that awareness that, you know, is it because I had a bad example and because I was hurt so much that I have this anger and that I hurt others because that was the example that was set for me.
Turn around and go and treat you like you nothing but trash. I know I messed that part up with. I know.
And for me, even, I know I messed that part up could be breaking the fourth wall. Not just messing up the delivery, but also like just messing up in life.
I know I messed that part up with. I know. Yeah, I know. Sometimes I lash out.
Right there. That was kind of cinematic. We just had that rise. And like you're just kind of trained subconsciously when you hear that sort of build, like there's going to be a drop. There's going to be something aggressive because it's NF. You're going to have like a cinematic drum kick. But I love how like it's kind of being used in a different sense to like throw you off. Because this is the second time I've heard this happen now where it's like build. And I expect a big dramatic kick and change. And instead, we hit a softer note. We kick out to the piano instead.
I know. Sometimes I lash out. Need to take a breath and calm down. Try to regulate.
And for me, the piano represents him having to calm down. And his delivery. He's come out of the aggressive delivery. Now he's singing again. He's trying to calm down.
They don't know how. Wasn't taught that in my house.
Wasn't taught that in my house.
Kids on my own, I step back. Look at those smiles and feel sad. Hope they don't wind up like that. Stuck in this loop like I am.
And then that line, hope they don't wind up like dad. I mean, that just hits different too. Wow. Some rawness on this. And for me, what's interesting is obviously MGK really gave a very rap attack-filled delivery. He laced a lot of lyricism into that, right? And I was thinking, oh, this is perfect for Nate because Nate can match this. We've heard him do this with Tech 9 on plenty of tracks before. And instead, I think NF made another conscious decision here that I'm not getting into rap games. I'm not trying to go, oh, well, he did that. I'm going to one-up him. I'm going to try to match it in this sense. No, I'm going to do what's right for the song. Song's telling me to sing here. Then it just feels right musically to have this build. And then I can get a little aggressive. But the whole point is I'm talking about my anger and my trying to cope with it and everything burning around me, having these bad examples. And then I'm trying to smooth it out again, right? And who I was. And it's kind of meditative and reflexive. And for me, that's true artistry, right? When you're not thinking about how optics might look, but you're thinking about what is right for the song and what does the song feel and what does it need. I enjoyed that from both of them. This feels like one of those.
Yeah, enough of the love, I need to be hated again. I need somebody to wake at the beast and really get under my skin. I need somebody to push me, tell me that I ain't no good with the pen. I need somebody to poke and pry and really get into my head. I need somebody to laugh, tell me I'm trash, tell me I might as well quit. I need somebody to grab the blade in my back, stab and give it a twist. I need somebody to smash, break up my plaques, tell me I shouldn't exist. I need somebody to ask why you even rap, you never be one of the. I need somebody to brag and show me the cash and tell me you'll never be rich.
Now Nate is in his rap bag. This is what we've been waiting for. It's taken 2 tracks to get here, but this is that Nate. Now this is that. I'm on this time. Oh, this beat goes into, and I'll tell you what, the beat does a really good job of just having like this little bit of tension right before the percussion starts hitting. You start just getting these hat rolls, right? Before everything really kicks in. Like just this sound, this sample cut here. And there's a little bit of like scratching underneath, you know, like a vinyl, like a needle kind of scratch. When you take the needle to the vinyl, you just hear that. There's just that little crackle. And for me, within the beat itself, like there's just that little held out kind of distortion to it as well. Yeah, it does a good job building the anticipation.
Yeah, enough of the love, I need to be hated again.
I love that opening line. Like, start off swinging. Enough of the love, I need to be hated again. Give me that. I need I'm on that time.
Somebody to wake at the beast and really get under my skin. I need somebody to push me, tell me that I ain't no good with the pen.
Hey.
I need somebody to poke and pry and really get into my head. I need somebody to laugh, tell me I'm trash, tell me I might as well quit. I need some
laugh, trash, might as well quit. Goes internal, external.
Somebody to grab the blade in my back, stab and give it a twist.
Grab, blade in my back, stab, give it a twist. Then he goes back to the external again. So it goes 1, 2, 3 internal, back to the external.
I need somebody to smash, break up my plaques, tell me I should
smash, plaques,
shouldn't exist. I need
exist, then back to the external. Very nice rhyme writing on top of the flow on this too.
and give it a twist. I need somebody to smash, break up my plaques.
And that's it, man. I've always talked about this. Take the negative energy. Take all of that. Acknowledge it and wear it like armor, right? Use it as your own shield. Not something to make you vulnerable. Use it to motivate you to work harder.
Tell me I shouldn't exist. I need somebody to ask why you even rap. You never be one of the. I need somebody to brag and show me the cash and tell me you'll never be rich. I need somebody with stats and numbers.
I think right there, one of the he didn't complete that, but I think he was gonna say like one of the lists, like on the top list.
I need somebody to brag and show me the cash and tell me you'll never be rich. I need somebody with stats and numbers and facts. Tell me I ain't got no hits. I need somebody who's whack and ain't got no class. Tell me I'm not in they list. I need somebody to act like I'm in the past so I can remind them I'm here. I need somebody to give me a reason. Whoa, give me a reason. Hey, give me a reason. Whoa, yeah, give me a reason. I forgot what that struggle like. I forgot what that hustle like. I forgot what that humble like. I forgot what that. I ain't forget about nothing to keep it on.
Oh, this is a hit right here. Just the controlled aggression within the verse. And I love coming out of that, right? You kind of smooth it out. You kick away percussion and he gets back into a little bit of like the melodic singing back. And for me, it's like slight auto-tune or melodyne, like on the mix of this, but I like the way that it's used because, you know, again, auto-tune is a tool, right? And for me, it just adds a different tonality to this. Give me a reason.
I need somebody to act like I'm in the past so I can remind them I'm here. I need
somebody to act like I'm in the past so I can remind them I'm here, right? Talk about my old self, because that's the classic. Oh, now that you made it, we want the old Nate back. We want that Nate.
I need somebody to act like
I love this concept, just overall.
I'm in the past so I can.
And I need somebody to tell me I don't have hits. Nate has hits, all right? You can't take that away from Nate. You can't take away his following. There is a reason why this album was the most pre-saved rap album on Spotify. Come on, man. Acknowledge the fan base that this man has built. Acknowledge the numbers that this man has done.
Remind him I'm here. I need somebody to give me a reason.
Oh, this beat's so cold.
Whoa, give me a reason. Hey, give me a reason. Whoa, yeah, give me a reason. I forgot what that struggle like.
Isn't that funny? There's another great example right there. It's like you take it and you filter it, so it sounds like it's slightly underwater. Like you still have these cinematic percussive hits that we've come to know, like movie trailer type Nate sounds.
Yeah, give me a reason.
And yet it's not hitting as heavy as it normally hits, right? It's kind of muted again. It's kind of subdued. I've talked about this concept that's been used now on 3 tracks of this album. So you have sort of a synergy, right? You start to notice like similarities with the production, and this adds to like a fluidity of sound. But this is definitely a conscious choice to like not have the over-the-top cinematics that we know. It's kind of being used very tactically, right? In a different sense now.
I forgot what that struggle like. I forgot what that hustle like. I forgot what that humble like.
I forgot what that humble like. Ooh.
I forgot what that. I ain't forget about nothing to keep it 100. I'm honestly bored. I wanna feel like I felt when nobody was following me and I had no awards. I wanna get better hearing them call me you wanna be shady, you ain't got no voice. I want the people that promise they'd always be with me to leave me and walk out the door. I want the fans to quit buying the tickets.
Did he just say what I think he said? He said that. I want him to call me a wanna be shady again. Take me back to those days. Ooh.
Like,
Ooh.
I forgot what that. I ain't forget about nothing to keep it 100. I'm honestly bored.
I ain't forgot about nothing to keep it 100. I'm honestly bored. Da 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 da. Right there. That nice, again, pepper delivery. Joyner Lucas uses this flow pocket a lot. I love this flow pattern right here. It's just such a nice rhythm. And if you match it line for line and hold it out and like match your syllables and match the way that you're dictating this, man, it just sounds so good over top of beats like this.
I forgot what that. I ain't forget about nothing to keep it 100. I'm honestly bored. I wanna feel like I felt when nobody was following me and I had no awards. I wanna get better hearing them call me you wanna be shady, you ain't got no voice. I want to
calling me a wannabe shady, you ain't got no voice. But the key to this is you can't get like super complex on the end rhymes. If you want this flow pocket to work, you normally pick a 1-syllable word. And normally you have to have like a really strong vowel sound in that syllable. Award, voice. And he's kind of holding it, elongating it. So you take that 1-syllable sound and you just hold it out at the end. So you can go faster. You can have that faster pepper delivery, but then you slow it down and elongate it and pick a single syllable to end it on. And it just helps you sit just in this pocket and just pepper it right in between the percussive hits.
And I had no awards. I want to get better hearing them call me you wanna be shady, you ain't got no voice.
Man.
I want the people that promise they'd always be with me to leave me and walk out the door.
What did I say though? Take the hate, take the criticism, acknowledge it, own it. Wear it like armor, man.
Be shady, you ain't got no voice. I want the people that promise they'd always be with me to leave me and walk out the door. I want the fans to quit buying the ticket to tell me they don't want to see me on tour. I want the label to drop me and tell me it's over, the music ain't making no noise. I want the critics to call me a gimmick and tell me they thought I was better before. I want to hear you keep talking the way that you talking when no one's around to record. I want to,
man.
Yeah, I want to start. I want to hear about how you ain't feeling the music and why it ain't better than yours.
I want a story. Hear about how you ain't feeling the music and how it ain't better than yours. That's it. A lot of hate half the time comes from jealousy. Comes from people look at it like, why is he doing those numbers? I can do those numbers better. Oh, let me hop up in the comments.
How you ain't feeling the music and why it ain't better than yours? I wanna, yeah, tell me some more. I wanna hear about, I wanna talk about, I wanna hear that. I need some more. Yeah, give me a reason. Whoa, give me a reason. Hey, give me a reason. Whoa, give me a reason.
I think this is really clever conceptually from Nate. Just the overall concept of this, right? Drop me from the label. Let me hear that hate. Say that I'm washed up. Say all these different things about me. And for me, it's like taking a track, which is just right on theme for him, and talking about like mental health. And you could tell like this is someone who's struggling, right? He represented this on Fear. He talked about a loss just before this. And yet somehow you get like a workout, motivational, uplifting track. But really the whole track is about him feeling like he's lost that hunger. He's lost that fire. But this sounds so fire. This sounds like he's got the hunger. I just love the way he's taking that concept and theme and kind of flipping it on its head and using it to inject an energy-filled track, man. Woo!
I forgot what that struggle
Like this is a rapper's track right here.
I forgot what that hustle like. I forgot what that humble like. I forgot what that. I forgot what that.
I forgot what that. I forgot what. I just love that little like chopped and screwed mix down right there before it all rises once more. Sauce to this, man. You know what I think it is? I think you have I think you have these driving strings running through the synth, right? And over top of that, like it's almost like I've talked about this before. When you take a sound and you take a cut, and I think they've taken probably the same cut, the same chord progression, and they've reversed it, and you play it backwards. Because for me, you have it driving forward, but then over top of the mix, you have just that tension, that anxiety that I talked about, and I think it's part of the cut, but it's playing backwards, right? So that's how you get that tension to it. Yeah, because it almost has like that distorted disharmony. Like it sounds harmonious, but there's something slightly off about it that's over top. So you have the driving harmony, and then over top, you've got kind of like that contrary harmony to it. Just that little tension to it. What was that? Just like a little breath? Like in the studio? Like, yeah. All right. I knew what I did there. That's an interesting end. I mean, honestly, I feel like this is an intro track, right? In terms of that energy and expectation that I had going into this album. We had to wait 4 tracks to finally get this. But man, we have been on a journey setting this up and leading to this point in time. But I feel like it's the perfect time for this really rapping, more aggressive, more controlled, more focused Nate delivery that we all come to know, that we've had on the green lights, that we've had on the warm-up, that we've had on so many tracks before. You finally get it, and he finally feeds us right here. Just really loved his acoustic guitars on this album.
I crossed the line in broken oath. Swore I would never let you go. Blamed you for things that weren't your fault. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Blamed you for things that weren't your fault. One, two, your fault. And then I just love the way he kind of holds that out. Again, he's always got that nice poetic meter to his delivery, right? To the pockets that he sits in. Even whilst he's singing, he still has very nice sort of singing flows. It's the rapper in him.
I'm sorry. that I'd have held you close and given you what you deserve. But that's
what you deserve. Interesting way to enunciate deserve. Deserve. Right? Just adds like a different kind of dynamic. I can't place who this is reminding me of. That sort of like diction type of delivery and singing.
what you deserve.
Do I want to say Mumford & Sons?
But that's
Ezra?
what everybody says when it's too late to fix a bridge that's burned. That's burned. I've been waiting by the phone, just praying that you call me up to say you wish you would have stayed and never said goodbye to us. I'm not looking for a fight, baby, I just wanna talk to you and say I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I'm just waiting by the phone. I broke an oath. I just want to say that I'm sorry. Is he talking to his wife on this? Because that's the obvious. You know, it feels like, I don't think Nate is divorced. So this isn't like it was a fight and it's over. This could just be writing this like right after just one of those fights. You know, and again, like this is what artists do, you know, when there's turmoil, when there's trouble, when we have these moments, we turn to our art to let it out, to find our way through the messiness, through the complexities and through the emotions. This is beautifully put. And the singing, man, Nate has really showed himself off as a singer throughout this album. Like there are some really strong singing tracks on this.
Just wanna talk to you,
man.
And say I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I've been the truth, I'm wrong to trust. Treated you like you weren't enough.
I've been the truth and broke your trust. Again, there's a nice little 2-syllable punch in.
Treated you like you weren't enough. Said I'd be there, but
Nate and James, if you sing to me like this, don't worry, you are forgiven.
said I'd be there, but never was. But I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Oh, I wish that I had held you close and given you what you deserve. But that's what everybody says when it's too late to fix a bridge that's burned.
That's what everybody says when it's too late to fix a bridge that's burned. You know, it's easy once the world is crumbling around you to say, I'm sorry. But, you know, sometimes we all get blinded by the path that we're on, and we're not fully aware of how we're affecting or hurting the ones closest to us.
That's what
Man.
everybody says when it's too late to fix a bridge that's burned.
I've been waiting by the phone, just praying that you call me up. To say you wish you would have stayed and never said goodbye to love. I'm not looking for a fight, baby, I just wanna talk to you.
Wow.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Oh, I love them coming together on this. The harmonies on this, man.
Say I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry.
And there's kind of that big band cinematic feel. But again, everything's being driven by just these beautiful acoustic guitars.
Say I'm sorry.
Wow, you feel this, man.
I'm sorry. Say I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry. Say I'm sorry. sorry.
Beautiful piano to end it on. I tell you what, it's not like we've had a large sample size on this album because it's such a short EP. And, you know, I've seen the chatter over the years like, oh, all Nate does is make, you know, like music about being depressed and anxiety. But for me, you know, and people complaining that it sounds always the same. It's the same cinematic hits. It's like movie trailer, rap. I think he's really showing his versatility on this album. Like we're really breaking boundaries. And we're showing we're not just boxed into one genre or one type of sound. And he's really using his singing. But it's not just that. The thematic writing on this, like the different concepts that are being used for each song, I love. And like this right here, this goes so much deeper than just like a shallow kind of like breakup or apology song. Like this is mature. This is bearing your soul. Like these are themes that I personally love to hear and really connect with. And you just feel that pain. And I tell you what, let's take it a step further because it's NF, right? He talks about the phone. He talks about being sorry, right? And you never know with Nate, with the metaphors, because you could take this as, you know, writing in the moment after maybe a bad fight, or he feels like he's let his partner down and writing to his wife. And that's that sentiment. But also, is this to the fans and feeling like he's let the fans down and he's not given enough? And the gap and the hiatus, is this a letter to himself as well? You know, as he battles, as he let fear back in, as he continues those struggles, when maybe this is a letter to hope and writing from that perspective as well. I'm always a big fan of when you write about a relationship, but then you can take it and you can look at it from a different lens and you can speculate and you can theorize that there may be other angles to this one. I mean, that's the beauty of music, and that's the beauty of the depth to this. Amazing mixing on this yet again. The sounds, the singing, and a track with Nate and James. Come on. You were Knoxville certified. Yeah, you have these moments of just gospel influence that you hear throughout this album. And right there, kind of taking them to church. Just that choir sample just cut into it. Beautiful piano as well. And like a clicking to it, man. Like there's just like this distortion to it just to give it like this rawness. Yet again, I keep talking about just like the raw feel of production to this album at moments. Is that the mansion?
Yeah, I'm starting to wonder if I lost the hunger. Where's that kid I used to be when I was on the come up? Where's that drive I used to have before I had the numbers? Where's that take me as I am, I ain't gonna be no puppet? Where's that tell it like it is, don't let the label hush you? Where's that yeah I know I'm rich but we gon' keep the budget? Where's that I don't really care about the radio? If they don't like the song then don't play it, I ain't changing nothing. Yeah, where's that person at? You see him tell him
I think that's the NF that we all love, right? Looking back, and it's a trap I think many artists fall into, just wondering, do you still have that it factor, that drive of what made you want to be successful? And now that you have all this success, do you still have that hunger? Do you still have that it, right? And look at the nod to the shovel, the callback, intro 3, when fear stood with him, digging the grave and pushes him into it.
Nothing. Yeah, where's that person, the song then don't play it, I ain't changing nothing.
I love how as the shovel hits, notice you have just a little bit of a cinematic, dramatic, percussive hit at the same time.
Yeah, where's that person at? You see him tell him I've been hurting bad. You see him tell him that I missed the way we used to rap. And I ain't making music anymore if he don't care enough to have my back. Yeah, dropping trash. Wouldn't say that I've been doing that, but I'd be lying through my teeth if I said I don't think my moment passed. Yeah, I think my moment passed. Am I on the brink of something great? Or have I lost it?
No.
Am I on the verge of making waves? Or am I washed up?
Wow.
This small room.
Wow. So he finds himself buried there. The NF that we found in Hope. And there he uncovers the map to hope. But in this case, the map is empty. Because there's no more hope left.
Am I?
Wow, so the connection's here, right? Connecting back to fear. NF walks out of the door, the black NF, right? And we talked about that transition from the white NF inside the mansion to the black NF. Then he walks outside, gets the shovel, call back to intro 3, digging his own grave. His grave representing his career, representing his time in music.
Don't play it, I ain't changing
or even representing his past self.
nothing. Yeah, where's that person at? You see him, tell him I've been hurting bad. You
Person at hurting bad. Nice
see
run.
him, tell him that I missed the way we used to.
I love that shot right there. Just like the dramatic stabilization, but you feel the shaking of the shovel. Like just that lock focus on the shovel. Man, look at that. Look at that. You just feel like kind of you're on a tilt-a-whirl right there. Your world's getting distorted with it as the shovel moves. It's a dope shot. And then the birds flying just behind them, just to add to this ominous scene.
The rap, and I ain't making music anymore if he don't care enough to have my back. Yeah.
Care enough to have my back. And there's that double again. That super wet reverb double. Just like adding that kind of aggressive, just another layer to it. But you get a more caricature of Nate with this rap delivery here, right? He's definitely injecting a lot more into this one.
Anymore if he don't care enough to have my back. Yeah. Dropping trash. Wouldn't say.
And again, just underneath the mix, you have a beautiful, very sad, bassy cello. Just bassier strings, sad strings. And then that choir sample that I talked about, that vocal cut is just, it's still there in the mix. I love the layer into this.
I've been doing that, but I'll be lying through my teeth if I said I don't think my moment passed. Yeah, I think my moment passed.
Look, I'm not dropping trash, but I'll be lying through my teeth if I don't admit that I think my moment passed. I mean, think about the implications of that, right? Let's just think about the music industry right now, right? Because I've seen some comments for the last 2 videos I dropped, some people talking about, is there also symbolism and further metaphors for the music industry and for how Nate views the industry? And for me, this is just a greater fourth wall meta right here, because you think about what rap is supposed to be, what we expect rappers to be. It's all about bravado. It's all about swagger. It's all about charisma. Rappers, especially male rappers, have to seem confident, right? They have to be self-assured in their delivery. You don't often get rappers. You get rappers bragging about their wealth, bragging about their success, bragging about their fame, how they've earned it, how they've grinded, how hard they work. How many rappers are sat dropping songs just going, you know what? I think I might be washed. I think my best days are gone. I think I missed my window to truly blow up.
I said I don't think my moment passed.
It's just refreshing to me. The best art is honest. It's raw. It's not what we expect. It's what the artist truly feels and them bearing their soul. This is really dope. And I feel like at a time when there's a lot of discussion around rap music, a lot of discussion around mainstream rap especially, and the state of it, and why numbers are down, and why less people are listening to it, and our listeners getting fatigued with the same messages. It's refreshing to have a perspective like this, right? I want to see more rappers turn around and just be honest. More rappers on the come up just being like, you know what? I'm broke. I'm struggling to pay the bills. I'm struggling to make it. Not necessarily bragging about things that they don't have.
Yeah, I think my moment passed. Am I on the brink of something great?
On the brink of something great. There's a nice, really high tone. I think they've taken Nate's voice. It sounds like a female voice, but I think it's Nate just pitch shifted up, right? And it's just right there, just adding just another layer to the harmony on the mix here.
On the brink of something great. Or have I lost it?
Have I lost it? I just love that little whispered it. And he just hits that T.
Am I on the verge of making waves? Or am I?
He's looking for the keys there in his pocket, and the Reaper has the keys. Clever.
The small rooms, the intimacy, no feeling like it. Those old shoes, nostalgic. I put
Oh, this beat switch.
my feet inside them. The Lord knew I needed this to survive the violence. The raw truth, I'm nothing without the Father's guidance. Who are you? The question that built this whole empire. Your old news, a statement that makes me think retire. The game's new, so eventually we all have to climb it. When wrong move and career is dying. Yeah, can I revive it? Did that check the label gave me make me uninspired? Am I ignorant to think that I still got the fire? Am I hanging on to something I should say goodbye to? Yeah, has my time expired? Did my prime already pass or am I about to find it? Did my peak already happen or am I still climbing? Is that passion that I had gone or am I
Wow.
on the brink?
This does have serious callbacks to intro 3, right? Fear digging the grave and tricking him to dig his own grave.
Oh, something great. Or have I
And what greater fear do we all share? You see the Reaper here, than a fear of death.
something great? Or have
Death of career, but also death in life, facing death. Because one of the things that struck me that's hit him on this album is losing his grandmother, who was important to him, right? And maybe that's the reason that we're back letting fear in, that we're back letting the shadows and anxiety in, because he's really struggling with that. And that's kind of led to this, feeling like he's taking steps backwards.
brink of
So that's another death that's happened.
something great? Or have I lost it? Am I on the verge of making waves? Or am I washed up?
Throwing gasoline on it? Yeah. Really good timing and syncing with what's happening production-wise with the visuals.
Washed up.
Again, there's another rise here. You hear like, oh, it's like a movie effect, like a horror movie. And then just that cut. And then just this bass anxiety. He's got the keys. Wow. I tell you what visuals, what shots here. Notice who's holding the keys. Fear. Death holds the keys as the mansion burns. And is the mansion, like, again, for me, there's a question being asked now. This is a Nate who's really searching. He's really trying to find, who thought that he had it together. And now it all feels like it's crumbling down again. And for me, the question is, because I feel like his state and his identity is also so linked with his music too. Like, does he crumble and therefore his music is over? Or is there a redemption still to be had? It's a short album. It's a 6-track album. I just feel like it's great for a statement of conclusion, or it's also an opportunity for a new chapter.
Am
Let's bring it back and appreciate just the end of this verse.
Lord knew I needed this to.
Yeah, I didn't break this down fully.
Or am I washed up?
Washed up. Right there, you hear the thunder crackle, like in time with that.
The small rooms, the intimacy, no feeling like it. Those old shoes,
This beat switch right here, man, just to get more of this rap bounce.
the small rooms, the intimacy, no feeling like it. Those
Small rooms, feeling like it.
old shoes, nostalgic, I put my feet inside them.
Old shoes, nostalgic, I put my feet inside it. I love how it goes internal,
The
external.
Lord knew I needed
Lord knew.
this to survive the violence.
Survive the violence. And then it kicks back out to the external.
The raw truth, I'm nothing without the Father's guidance. Who
Raw truth. Back to the internal. Father's guidance. Then back to the external. Really nice rhyme writing throughout this.
are you? The question that built this whole empire.
And he keeps going with
Your
it.
old news is
Who are you? The question that built this whole empire. Me reflecting on that and trying to define it and looking at my emotions and my identity. And he's done a hell of a job exploring that.
guidance. Who are you? The question that built this whole empire. Your old news, a statement that makes me think retire.
Nate can act too,
The
man.
game's new, so eventually we
Nice action scene.
all have to climb it. When wrong moving, career is dying.
I love how one wrong move, career is dying. And again, it's just synced up so seamlessly with the action that's happening within the visual story as well.
Can I revive it? Did that check the label gave me make me uninspired? Am I ignorant to think that I still got the fire? Am I hanging on to something I should say goodbye to?
Am I ignorant to think that I still got the fire? And then there's also this question of, is he allowing this self-destruction to happen because he's searching for meaning? And this is another sort of entrapment for artists who are very about mental health. You know, their best music comes when they're at their worst, unfortunately. But also it's just a part of the art because that's when they're most inspired to create the art. And then they have this question of, now that I'm successful, now that everything seems stable in my life and good, am I missing a step now? Because I don't have all that turmoil. And then possibly they head back to this path of self-destruction. They get more reckless. And I wonder if him lighting the fire and giving into fear, because he's giving into his fears, right? And it's fear that lights the fire and burns the mansion and walks towards that destruction. Is that done because he is struggling to find his own fire? So now he's creating it, right? Because again, there's just that temptation, that allure. Well, you were at your best when things were at their worst. So maybe we go back there to find ourselves.
Yeah, has my time expired? Did my prime already pass or am I about to find it? Did my peak already happen or am I still climbing?
Prime, pass, peak. Love the PPP alliteration.
Is that passion that I had
Passion.
on her? Am I on the brink of something?
Or am I? I love how he doesn't finish it with his rap thoughts, right? Doesn't finish that. Because to me, it feels like unfinished business.
Great. Or have I lost it? Am I on the verge of making waves? Or am I washed up?
Isn't it funny how the nature of that like choir cut, before it had a smooth, soulful balance. And I talked about the soul to it and taking us to church. Now there's this anxiety driven with that bass drive, with that synth drive, just with everything underneath of it and the way that it's cut here. Even though there's a beautiful piano, there's just, I feel anxious. I feel the stress. And here it is. Washed up as the rain falls down too. Nice titling and nice meta. Definitely leaves us on a cliffhanger. I don't think that this is the end, but I think this is a great conclusive song to have in his journey and a pivotal moment to me and turning point for Nate. And we'll see what happens from here. Wow. What an album journey for me. And I'll tell you what, even though it's only 6 tracks, it still feels very carefully curated. It feels like there's been a lot of thoughtfulness put into these 6 tracks and just really making just a wholesome, complete experience, right? I don't know if it needs more tracks. It doesn't. This feels just right for this album. And for me, just showing the dynamic range of NF, showing off his singing, showing off just pushing into different genres, different sounds, but some great themes throughout. And for me, the ultimate theme, kind of exploring, his mental health journey and feeling like he was progressing, but now he's taking steps backwards. But what's interesting to me is that ending of Washed Up, right? When you see death and you see fear, the dark Nate, the shadows Nate, right? And he's in the grave. And fear that we had on intro 3, right? Tricks Nate into getting in the grave and digging his own grave, right? And then you see hope, and hope has been buried, and he's lost the map to hope. But what's interesting there, when death comes, and the ultimate fear that I talked about, right? Death kind of takes on Nate's fear and then burns down Mansion. So both of those music videos, you had a lot of parallels, a lot of callbacks to the Mansion days, right? To the Perception days, right? To just every major sort of music video that Nate has done. You just had those Easter eggs in those moments. But for me, it feels like a final chapter in a sense, but not a final chapter of NF's career. It feels like a final chapter in this history, in this discography. And death defeats fear as well. So representing not only the death of hope, but the death of fear, and then the burning down of Mansion and Nate's mental state. And for me, that's that finalization, that maybe he's leaned into the fear, but that's okay. And there's an anger there as well. And we haven't really discussed anger in the burning of the mansion. But like I talked about, you could have this kind of redemption. This sets up for rising like a phoenix from the ashes. Sometimes you do have to take steps backwards in order to truly move forwards. Sometimes you do have to burn it all down in order to reset. And we'll see where we go from here. I don't think this is the end from Nate. It's just the beginning. But anyways, what an album. NF, you are Knox certified. Hope you guys liked today's video. Listen, if you're here at the end, obviously enjoying the content, do me a huge favor. Support the channel directly. Subscribe with notifications on. It really does help. It really does go a long way. I'll try to get some more NF content out now that he's back in the conversation. It's so good to see him back. Comment down below anything else you want to see me react to, anything else you want to see me do. Also, if you like the hat that I'm wearing, if you like the hoodie that I'm wearing, knoxhillmusic.com. Go get your merch. Go rep the brand. It all helps. It all goes a really long way with supporting the channel. All right, everyone, stay safe, stay positive. Take care of this, take care of this. You know, I'll catch you again.
Whoa, sit down, sit down. I'm like, wow, how we do it like that? Like, wow, how we do it like that? Like, wow.